All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the general session in the JL Success Mastermind. You guys all know me. I'm Shannon Lavenia. I am John's wife. I see Janet on here too. Welcome, Janet. And today I wanted to share with you a bit of a story that occurred yesterday and give you a really amazing marketing strategy called clarity through contrast. So yesterday in my messenger, I get a lot of new friend requests and stuff. So yesterday I got a friend request from a woman who I think probably friended me to pitch me on her services because she helps coaches to expand their marketing and also works in the network marketing space for people to grow their network marketing business. And we started up a conversation. She said, how is business going? And I said, business is going amazing. I mean, on Tuesday, we launched a big system for a very well-known author named Jack Canfield. That was absolutely epic. I've got new clients that we just onboarded into our agency. My direct selling business is going like crazy. Like everything's really going really well. And I told her this, and then I asked her, how is business going for you? And she said, it's going really well. She just had her second $50,000 month and in her business, which everyone, when you hear those numbers, you're like, yay, I want that, right? And she said she went from 3,000 to 50,000 in a period of 6 weeks. So she had been hovering right around 3,000 a month, 3,000 a month, 3,000 a month, 3,000 a month. And then it really just took off, right? It like caught, the wheels caught the road. It was kind of like she was pedaling in sand before, and all of a sudden the wheels caught the road, and she's making $50,000 a month. And we were talking about that, and I said, oh my gosh, I hope you're leveraging the crap out of that story. And she said, I'm actually not. Like, I feel weird talking about how much money I've made because in the space, there's so many people like and this is true in any space, right? Even in Amazon and e-commerce, right? People will brag about how much money they make, but they never really give you the details behind it, and as someone who's been a business coach for as long as I have, when I'm onboarding people into my coaching business, a lot of times they'll be making, gross $100,000 a month and net, 11,000 a month. So they've got like all these ridiculous overhead or expenses or things like that. So on the outside, it seems like everything's bright and shiny and prosperous. And on the inside, they're like barely paying their bills, right? So she said, there's so many people out there in the space that talk about how much money they make, and they make it seem like it's so easy. And it wasn't easy for me. She's a single mom, and she's worked for years at about the $3,000 a month mark. And then all of a sudden it hit, like everything that she's been studying and learning and applying came together and really hit. And now she's at that $50,000 mark. And really where we got into this conversation was because she said she had a wait list for her high ticket coaching. And I said, why a wait list? Like, nobody should wait for anything. I don't understand why you would have a wait list. And she grew so fast that she's really struggling to meet the needs of the group that she has, right? To meet those needs. But the reason I bring this story up is because one of the saddest experiences that I've had in my 19-year journey in business and entrepreneurship is watching people who start their business and have the idea of creating something better for themselves, for their family, creating contribution on the planet, doing something inventive or innovative, fulfilling their purpose, right? Is watching these people then give up, walk away, and go on to other things. And because it wasn't that the thing didn't work, right? It wasn't that thing didn't work, or that their business was failing, or that it was too challenging or any of that. Like those are seemingly very valid reasons, right? Very valid reasons to give up and walk away. And at the end of the day, those aren't the reasons though. The reasons, because someone could go get a job to bring in some cash flow, but still keep their business and make it go right, right? The reason that people walk away ultimately is because they haven't built up the mental toughness. They haven't grown that rhinoceros skin. They haven't developed that laser focus or that mental aptitude of commitment that it takes sometimes to work through all of the failures in order to master the success. So even in my business, you know, sometimes people will say, well, you're so lucky that you have an agency and, you know, it's thriving, and there's no luck about it, right? Like one of the ways that we established our agency very in the beginning was with a very strong principle of do what you say you're going to do. And my whole team operates on that, say what you're going to do. If they don't operate on that, they're let go pretty quickly. We don't deal with people who have a lot of excuses about deadlines and stuff like that in my business. But it didn't take luck. It took a lot of focus and persistence and tenacity. And quite frankly, sometimes, and I don't give an F, I'm doing this anyways, right? Like I'm just, whatever the universe is trying to make me think I can't do this, I'm just going to like barrel through that and make it go right anyways. And with this lady that I was talking to, that really is what it boiled down to, right? She was a single mom. She did not want to go work a full-time job and not be with her child. And she just kept persisting through the barriers to get to that point of making that money. And when we were talking, we were like, you know, I said to her, I said, look, this is your gold. This is actually your gold in the message. Isn't, because she said she doesn't like to tell the story of making 50,000 a month, right? Because she doesn't want to be lumped into this other group of coaches and stuff that talk about, oh, I'm making 50K a month. And they make it seem like they woke up one morning and all of a sudden buckets of money fell on their bed. And that's not the case. The case is they did have to work and they did have to, you know, muscle through things, and they did have to have some fortitude in order to get there. Now, are there shortcuts? Hell yeah, there's shortcuts. Like my shortcut when I got started was I hired a mentor, right? I was in a new business. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't want to take forever. I just wanted to do what someone else was doing. So we paid the $25,000 and we just followed everything this guy was doing. And that $25,000 made us $440,000 that our first 12 months. Within 16 months, we had cleared over $1 million. So was that investment worth it? Yeah, it was definitely worth it. So are there shortcuts? Yes, there are shortcuts. But did it still take a lot of persistence and tenacity? Yeah, it did. There were many days where I was crying because this guy was pushing me, right? Pushing me to my limit to become someone I wasn't, right? To become someone that I wasn't at the time, not changing my core personality or anything like that. I'm not talking about like weird woo-woo stuff, like, you know, you're going to be a different person. What I'm talking about is he stretched me, right? There was, if I came to him with something negative, he was like, I'm not talking to you right now and listening to this. And I was like, he said, call me back when you can have, you know, a positive conversation about what you want to accomplish. So, you know, I really got into this mindset of no excuses, right? No, I'm not going to dwell in my problems, and I'm definitely not going to puke my problems all over my mentor, because that's not what he was there for. He was there for solutions, right? So that was the shortcut. But the other part of this, when I was talking to this young lady, I said, look, you need to tell this story, but you need to tell it in a different way than everyone else is telling it. And you need to tell it in a marketing method called clarity through contrast. Now, clarity through contrast, the people who use this on their Amazon listings always have successful listings, because what they do is they research what other people are doing. They'll research other listings, and particularly they'll research what those other listings are saying. And they'll also research what is being said in the reviews, right? In the reviews. The gold on how you write your listing for a comparative product is in the reviews. That's where you find out what that product is missing and what customers really want. And you stress that in your listing, right? You stress it. So in her case, I was saying you need to tell your story in clarity through contrast. And I'll give you a couple examples on here because I know some of your businesses. But I said, what you need to say is, look, I made $50,000 the last 2 months, and I don't like to talk about it. And the reason I don't like to talk about it is because when you look out in the space, everyone's talking about how much money they made, and they make it seem like it's so darn easy. And it wasn't easy for me. And there's things I wish I had done differently. And the things I wish I had done differently that would have gotten me here faster are blah, blah, blah. Right. And in doing that, it was very amazing, right? Super amazing. Like, and I just gave this to her in Messenger, and she said, oh my gosh, I feel so blessed that you shared this with me. This is definitely the way to go. You helped me with my confidence, blah, blah, blah. And that's really what clarity through contrast does. So for an example, I know Edward's business. Edward is in insurance, very specific type of insurance, right? And a clarity through contrast conversation would be, look, nobody likes to talk about death. Nobody. I hate talking about it, and it's my business, right? But here's the thing. If I don't talk about it, you're going to walk up to that day and your family is really going to struggle. And to this day, I haven't met anybody that wants their family to struggle after they've gone. If I said, do you want your family to struggle after you die? Nobody's going to say yes, right? Not a person, no one, unless they're a total a-hole and they're like, just their kids don't like them anyways. And their kids are like, whatever, dump the body in the river, right? So, but most people are going to say no, right? But that's a clarity through contrast conversation. That's marketing genius, right? Because it helps people to connect with a message that's very, very powerful. Now, how can you look at clarity through contrast? People always ask me how I came up with this. I didn't come up with it through any other way than I like to position myself differently, right? My message in the marketplace is you don't have to hustle, right? You don't have to work so hard to get ahead. And everyone has this idea that they have to work harder and push on the pedal with more force in order to make more money. And the reality is the amount of time and effort you put into something does not equal the dollars that come out. Can we all agree that you have at times in your life worked really, really hard and didn't make the kind of money you thought you were going to make in the exchange of that effort? Right? So then common sense will tell us that there is no law of physics that says the harder you work, the more you'll make, right? That's not a law of physics. And sometimes when I'm talking to people and I'm onboarding them, they'll say, I just don't have the time. I can't work any harder. And I'm like, whoever said you had to work harder? No one. I don't like to work hard. I'm lazy by nature. Right? You would think that I'm not, but if I can take time off to do other stuff, that's what I want to do. Right? Now I'll put in the time in my business because I really like the money that comes out of the other end. But I also know that I don't have to work harder to make more money. I have to work smarter, right? And the smarter you work using actual principles of business, the more money you'll make. But fundamentally, the base of all of that, the base of it is your mindset. If your mindset is messed up, it's going to be an uphill battle. And that's where you end up really working harder, right? So there's a couple of things that I tell people to do on a daily basis. And these are some of the things that this young lady did too. And I'm always amazed that people don't do it, right? It's almost like I'm opening up. It's like a genie just came out of the genie lamp and is granting you the magic to your 3 wishes. And I tell people to do these things and they never do them. They never do them. Okay. So I'm going to tell you the things that I tell people to do that really are the make break point in having that mental mettle in order to push through the adversities to have the success that you want to have. And I'll tell you, this has shown up in my life many times. When we started our first business, John was in the hospital from stress. He had gotten downsized. We were in a big, huge financial crunch. We were paying our mortgage with our credit cards, which never is a good idea, right? Never. But that's the scene that we were in. And we were starting a business in that. It was kind of crazy, right? But we had to like really do a lot of personal development to keep our head straight, to just keep marching in the right direction. The second time was when we had that business, we were making millions of dollars, and the business partners broke up. The company went under. We lost everything. Real estate crashed at the same time. We had all of our money in real estate, which was also pretty stupid. And everything crashed. We went through bankruptcy. I didn't even have a car. We were living in Delaware. Now get this. I went from having a Bentley and a Maserati and a Range Rover, right? That's what was in our garage, 2 Harleys in a 5,000 square foot house. I went from that to overnight, not even having a car, no car, living in a little 1,200 square foot condo in Delaware, not even with my furniture. It was furnished, right? Walking my daughter in her stroller to daycare on the path, a half mile there and a half mile back with my umbrella if it rained, right? So, and in a year, we went through Bentley's gone, Maserati's gone, everything, moving to Delaware, having nothing, and within 12 months being back over 6 figures, right? Now, we could have sat there and cried in our soup and been like, oh my, this is miserable. I don't even have money for groceries, blah, 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 right? Instead, all I kept thinking was, the breakthrough's coming, right? And I focused on 10,000 months, 10,000 months, 10,000 months. Then we went through all that. Then in 2017, after we did epic amounts of donations to charities, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we were like, whatever, we're making so much money, hand over fist, who cares, right? The company we were working with that we had our primary contract with was raided by the FTC 2017. All income gone, right? Gone. So we had some savings and stuff that lasted us for a while, but we had to rebuild from that too. So I bring these up because everyone's going to have in their mind say to me, but you don't understand my circumstances. You don't understand what's going on. You don't understand this. You don't understand that. And the truth is, I do understand. I completely understand. Life throws you a pile of shit sometimes. It just does. And you can either sit there and smell it. I'm going to just sit here and smell my shit all day long. Or you can do something about it and get your shovel and start getting it out of there, right? So you can replace it with some piles of gold, right? So this is what you do. So here's what I do. One, you have to have a dream board. You can't underestimate the value of a dream board. The purpose of a dream board is for you to have pictures in front of your face all the time of what you're going for, right? And some people are like, I did a dream board once, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but then they shoved it in their closet and they never did anything with it after that, right? So you make a dream board, you post it on your wall, you look at it every day and you get serious about it. Your dream board isn't just a bunch of pictures you put on there. It's actual things that you want to manifest in your life, right? And when I was going through cancer, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, the very first thing I did was put a dream board together. Very first thing. I was like, you know what? I cannot listen to people talk about dying. I just can't. It cannot be in my world right now. I get, and it's amazing when you tell people you were diagnosed with cancer, not everyone, but people say the stupidest things. They'll be like, oh, my aunt had breast cancer and she died last week. And it's like, what the hell, dude? Why would you tell me that? Right? So people will constantly put things in your universe. They'll do it in business. You'll be like, I'm running an Amazon business. And they'll be like, oh yeah, my cousin tried that and lost her house. And you're like, wow, thanks. That's empowering. You're awesome, right? Like people will put this in here. So when people say stuff like that, what do? You run and you look at your dream board and you're like, this is what I'm creating. I don't care about, that other person. This is what I'm creating. So very first thing is a dream board. Second thing, you have to have a very well-defined goal, very well-defined goal that you have written on a goal card that you're looking at multiple times per day with total intention. So when you're looking at that goal card, and let's say, I don't know, let's say you put your listing up and Amazon blocks you. This happened to me. I launched my challenge and Facebook literally banned me from marketing on Facebook, where I had tens of thousands of followers. My Facebook fan page had like 25,000 people. My group had thousands, right? They shut me down. And yeah, I cried about it for a day, but then I looked at the goal card and I was like, okay, I'm going to have to get creative here, right? Get creative. What am I going to do out of this? So you have to have a goal card that you look at multiple times per day, right? No joke. The other thing is, if you find that your mindset gets a little funky at times, one of the things that I did early on was I put Post-it notes everywhere with affirmations, right? And I still have them, I am a magnet to money, right? It's right there. I've got the physical universe aligns to my desires, right? These are things I read multiple times per day. These are my affirmations, right? Physical universe. I put up the physical universe aligns to my desires. And I onboarded a client that paid me $52,000 upfront in my branding agency, right? So, and it just pulls right in. And you know how she came to me? I did a video on Facebook. I did a live on Facebook, and some random person that she doesn't even know tagged her in the video in the comments. And she watched the video and sent me a friend request and was like, I need you. And that was it, right? I didn't even know her beforehand, right? So that's how this actually works. I wasn't hunting for her. I wasn't working to go. I did a video, a 3-minute video by that. It was a short one, right? Short one. But a lot of people don't do that, right? And then daily reading, right? So fill your mind with positive things. Get out of the news, turn the TV off. I always tell people, if you're trying to build a business and you still have cable TV, there's a problem there, right? There's a problem, because you shouldn't be sitting in front of the TV to entertain yourself. You should be reading important things, because you're in launch, right? And when you're in launch, when you're taking off on the jetway, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of mental fortitude, right? So if you have a successful business and you want to have cable TV and entertain yourself, by all means, right? Do it. But when you're in launch, when you're in getting off the ground, there really is no time for that. You have to change those behaviors, right? Those are hours and hours and hours that you can be doing positive mental mindset. Okay, so that's what I want to share with you today. And I want to open this up for comments, questions, anything that you guys want to ask or communicate about. Okay, guys, this is your time. Like literally people pay me thousands of dollars to spend time with me. And this is your time. So if you do have a question or you want some coaching or you want some advisement, like now would definitely be a time to ask. Stefan?
I was just saying, I'm just trying to pull over so I can concentrate on what I'm saying. Here we go.
Okay, that's a good idea.
There we go. Listening is one thing, but talking, I tend to get distracted. So my question was, I really appreciate the story that you gave today, because I've done some things in my life that are, looking back, are pretty like, wow, that's pretty awesome. And then I'm at a point now, kind of like you were talking about, where after you had lost everything, I'm not at that point. I'm starting to build back up again.
Mhm.
But I still don't have that current thing where I can say like, oh, I'm selling $50,000 a month. Which story do I use? Do I talk about something that I did in the past? Or like, because currently I'm not really making a whole lot of money.
Well, all your stories don't have to be about money, right? So your stories can be about lessons you learn, things you're doing that are successful, things that you have done in the past, your vision for the future, the goals that you're creating, building back. I mean, these are all things that you can talk about.
And as far as the like the vision board, the only thing that I want to know is like, are there apps? I have to look. I have to see if there's an app where you can make them like that, because
So here's the thing I'm going to tell you. A digital vision board is not the same as physically putting your hands into the create of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you print some pictures, get some magazines, when you're physically doing it, you're actually creating it, right? You're creating something in the physical universe versus something that's digital that you look at on a screen. It does not impinge on you the same way.
Yeah, I have to see if I can make a small one that I can put on my steering wheel or something like that, because I'm always in my car. Like I'm always moving around, driving places. So if I can do it like that, then that probably makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, or in your bathroom. I'm sure when you're in your house, you're using your bathroom, right? We all do it. So, any place where you're going to see it is where it should go.
Yep. And thank you very much. I really appreciate what you said today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Awesome, Stefan. Hey, Janet.
Hey, Shannon. Thank you, darling. So I'm thinking of something I saw on on a YouTube video, and this might help Stefan, and that's what I'm thinking I'm doing, is rather than a large board with all of these pictures stuck on or something, she put them on cards. And I'm thinking, well, she only had words on there, but there needs to be the visual, the pictures of something, right? But if they're on flip cards and you can have them with you and you can go through them any time of day, you don't have to be in a location. What do you think of that, Shannon?
Sure. As long as it's something you're going to look at multiple times per day. Right. So but not something that you create that gets shoved in a drawer and you don't look at it. Like that doesn't really work. Right. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I liked her idea because I'm thinking, I'm moving around here, there, whatever, not having a central something, but that I can keep with me. Those I can flip through, like you do anything when you're learning a language or trying to learn anything. You have the flip cards.
Yeah.
But I'm inspired now to think that I will add to it pictures or visuals that make it stronger, because I think the visual is a stronger message than just the words.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, that's a great suggestion, Janet. Thanks for popping out here. Edward.
Oh, you really hit it on the head today, I'll tell you. A couple of things that I try to do is I put up old pictures of winning awards and trophies that I've gotten in this business. And I look at them constantly all the time when I'm on the phone. What I do is I'll take one earbud and I'll use it to make my calls. And I get another earbud and I'll listen to maybe, the power of belief, or whatever the case may be. And it's constantly going on and on and on in my mind. And when somebody tells me something crazy, I'm never going to die, or whatever the case may be, I'm like, okay, all right, okay. Because I'm listening to this guy telling me I'm great and I'm moving on and things are great, so I just cancel it out, but one thing that I need help with, and this is something I really need help with, and that is being consistent, being in flow. Because see, in my business, everything is based on me. Number one, sales. Number two, recruiting. Okay. Right. So that's it, and if I'm not up, if I'm not ready to go, then, you have to defeat that, morose you get sometimes. So can you help me with that? How do you do that?
This is a really great question, particularly for me, because I've been through this whole health crisis issue. And sometimes I haven't physically just felt like doing anything, right? And the way that I mentally work my way through it is that every day, every minute that I take down is a longer timeline to my goal. And it's kind of exponential. So if let's say, and I'm not saying, that like the day I have surgery or the day after, whatever, I don't take off or things like that. Of course I do. And I have those planned into my routine. But here's the thing, like I had surgery a little over 2 weeks ago on a Thursday. So I knew Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would be taking off. I'd be resting and stuff, right? And Monday I would be back at it. Well, after 4 days doing nothing, Monday, I didn't feel like doing anything, right? Because now I've broken the pattern. But I know that if I take that day off again, and I don't do something that day, the next day is going to be even harder, right? Because now it's more days not doing it. It's kind of like getting back to the gym after you haven't been in the gym for a long time. It sucks. It's painful. Right? You lift those first weights and you feel like, a truck hit you the next day. So when I'm looking at my goal, I really am asking myself, how long do I want this goal to take? Do I want it to take to next year? Do I want it to take 6 months? Do I want it to take 4 months? And the more consistent I am, the shorter the timeline is going to be. And the inconsistent I am, this has been my experience in 19 years in business. Inconsistency moves your goal away exponentially. So it's not like you take one day or 2 weeks or whatever, and your goal is just going to take 2 weeks longer to hit. No, because you have all the energy and effort it takes to restart the engine to actually get in there. So being consistent is far less painful than being inconsistent. And I don't really like to bring pain on to myself. So that's how I stay fairly consistent in my business. The other thing is I have a team of people that work for me. And quite frankly, if they don't hear from me in a couple of days, they're all over me, like wanting to know what to do, what's next, like all of that. So when you have a team of people working for you too, it kind of raises your level of personal responsibility in what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, because they need to get paid, right? When I hired them, I said, hey, you can trust me, you can feed your family, it's going to be good. So that's the other thing. Also, calendar, you have to maintain a calendar and you just have to be diligent about it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's just being accountable to yourself and being accountable to, what it is you're trying to achieve. And I've got to become a whole lot better at that. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we can get comfortable in life too. So it's also like, you kind of look at what in your life is really comfortable right now that would have you be inconsistent, and kind of like shift some things to make it uncomfortable. Like, and here's a game you can play. Here's something I do. When my bank account is all full and flush and stuff, it can definitely make me want to be lazy. So I get rid of that money as fast as I can. I'll lock it up in retirement accounts or investments, or, you know, anything that I'll pay a car off, or, you know, I'll just get rid of it so that my bank account is like always bordering on empty. And then that creates that necessity and that flush, right? You know, right now, John and I are looking to buy a house. So, you know, we have to make a down payment for that and all kinds of stuff around that. So I just took all the money I had and put it other places. So I gotta like hustle and make the money for the down payment. Right. And playing those types of games, especially when you get to a bigger level, it's so important. Really, really important. John, I want John. Well, I was going to say John wants a pickup truck. I want John to get a pickup truck because I want to get a travel trailer. So I'll play a game like, you know, whenever we were like, okay, I want to get a travel trailer, we don't use the money we already have for anything like that. We make it a game to go create the income to be able to pay for that. And to like, if I want a $35,000 travel trailer, it's not like I have to make $35,000. I have to make, because of how we structure like what we're paid and everything, I have to make like 300,000. And then I'll have the money set aside, you know, to go pay cash for that travel trailer. So that makes me want to do it. You know what I mean? You like play games like that.
That is brilliant. That's brilliant. That is just, oh my goodness. Because what you do is you change the framing of the work.
Yeah.
Instead of you know, dreading it and, oh my goodness, you know, and I got to do this, you change that to, I get to do this, you know,
Yeah.
I get to participate in this. Because one more time, because there's somebody else who wanted to be here, can't be here, you know? So thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you.
That's right. Well, I'm glad that you love that. Sometimes people ask me, you know, like, you know, after I went through cancer and stuff, like people were like, why didn't you just like retire or do whatever? And quite frankly, it's because when I was going through like chemo and everything, I did what most Americans do. I sat on a couch and watched TV all day. Right. And because I couldn't do much of anything else. And I was like, if I were to like mock up hell, you know, like there's heaven, you see the clouds and the pearly gates and everything. If I were to like mock up my version of hell, that would be it. Sitting around all day long with no purpose, doing nothing, you know, watching TV. And then what does the game become? And sometimes you might see this with like your aging parents or stuff like that. The game becomes, at breakfast, they start talking about what they're going to have for dinner. And I'm like, you know, like we go see my in-laws and stuff. And the conversation all morning long is like, what should we do for dinner? And I'm like, I could care less. Like, you know, put an apple and some cheese in front of me, whatever. Right. But that's their whole life now, is like creating what they're going to have for dinner and what shows are on and planning their week around the shows and stuff like that. To me, that's my idea of hell. So if anyone ever wonders why I didn't just stop working after I had cancer or whatever, because there's no way I want to live that life. Right. Even traveling, like when I go travel, I love to travel, but man, I'm like an on purpose traveler. Right. I'll go sit on the beach for like an hour, but after an hour, I'm like, we're literally just going to lay here. That's it. We're just going to lay here. Right. I can't do that. I cannot do it. So So even with travel, I look at that. So, and on my desktop, I don't know if you guys can, I'm going to show you this. So this is my desk. I have another, like I have you guys on this screen, and then I have this other screen here, but I've got this image on here, and John put it on here, and I thought it was so perfect, right? If you guys can see that bridge there, right? So here's like this road's coming through here, right? They want to build a road, all this beautiful mountains and stuff. And then there's that bridge. When I look at that bridge, I think someone had a vision for creating this road, that went along the coast, an unseemingly impossible road, right? They had to bomb out mountain. They had to build it into the cliff. And then they also had to build this bridge, right? And that bridge was going to take a ridiculous amount of time. But at the end of it, people were going to be able to enjoy this incredibly scenic road all the way across, right? But they still had to build that bridge. And a lot of times in business, that's what we're doing. We're building the bridges, right? We have a vision and we're building the bridges, and we don't really know how long it's going to take to build the bridge, but it's going to get there, right? So, okay, good. Well, hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I appreciate you being here. And today there is an extra call on your calendar. I don't know if you've seen that, but there is an extra call on your calendar, and that's at 3:00 Pacific, and that's how to sell through Messenger, through Facebook Messenger. So if you're interested in learning how to connect with people and sell through Messenger, it's a call I'm doing for my CFA program, and we're including you guys in it. So I have to run. My phone is blowing up here with text messages. So, okay, guys, have a fantastic day, everyone. Let me just check the chat here if there was any questions. Okay, good. Okay, guys, have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.